What's up guys? In this video I'm going to be talking about the different side hustles that I've done over the years, and at the end of the video I'll let you know which one is my favorite. I'm currently in the US guys and just sitting in this car, and I thought I would make this video for you. One of the things that inspired me to make this video is a conversation that I was having with my cousin about side hustles and how a lot of side hustles are just simply trading time for money. And if you're not enjoying the work that you're doing, then what are you getting out of it? If that side hustle isn't a skill that you're building and developing and something that you can use in the future to earn more of and become a highly technical or highly qualified or highly developed person in that particular field, then is that side hustle worth your time? So in this video I'm going to be ranking the side hustles from what I found to be the least worthy of time of my time right now to what I consider to be some of the most and have the most prospects. So let's get started. Let's jump straight in with number one. Right, number one on this list are gig delivery apps. And by delivery apps, I'm talking about Uber Eats, Just Eat, Deliveroo, GoPuff, and in the US, DoorDash. And these are apps that you essentially sit around and wait for an order to come in, and then you go and pick up that order, drop it off at the customer's door. So this could be food or grocery deliveries. And the reason I say that this is the least, the side hustle that is least worthy of time, and that if you can find anything else to do, you should pursue that instead, is that these apps are not particularly well paying at all. Not only are you not really learning anything while you're doing it, but all you're doing is trading the time that you have during your day just to get the money that you're going to be paid for doing those deliveries. And there's no set amount that you can make while you're doing it. There's no the predetermined amount that you're going to make while you're doing this type of app work. I started off doing delivery work back in 2018 or maybe even earlier. It's been quite a few years that I was using these kind of apps, and I used to deliver food in my car. I was working for Uber Eats in London, and back when I did it, there were times where I would earn decent money and I would be happy with what I took home in a day, and there'll be times where I would go out and I'll barely make anything and I'd go home disappointed. And not only would I have wasted my fuel and my time, I would just feel terrible at the end of the day, and it would really get my mood down that I really spent all of that time to go out, want to make some money, earn for my hard work, and I've just gone around and not received any orders. Because on these type of apps, orders are not guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you're going to get any work when you go out on a particular day. If the demand is not high and people are not ordering food, no orders are going to come. And the other thing that I think is worth talking about is that I think a lot of the algorithms on these apps really take us for idiots. And by that I mean, you can be out on a busy night and like, I'll give you an example. I used to go out delivery riding on this is when I switched to an electric bike from a car, and I'll be out in the busiest parts of London, and I would wait around for an order to come in and nothing would come in for hours. And I can see lots of other riders around me all picking up orders from restaurants. They're getting work to do, and the app is determining that for some reason I'm not eligible or worthy to be given any work to do on that particular day. And it's demoralizing. And when it's happening, you can't quite figure out why, because the app will tell you, these apps will tell you, go to a more popular area, go to a hotspot where lots of orders are happening. So you might ride your bike half an hour to go somewhere busier, and you get to that busier area expecting that you're going to have more work to do, and nothing comes in, and all you've done is wasted your time. And it took me doing this quite a few times before I realized, hold on, I'm really being taken for a fool here. Like, I'm listening to the instructions on this app. This app is telling me to go to this area that I don't even want to be in, and when I get there, I'm sitting around waiting and orders are not coming in. And the worst part of it is, a lot of these apps don't pay well at all now. If you're still considering doing it after listening to what I've just said now, maybe you've got friends that are doing it and they're encouraging you to get into it, I would say don't. The apps that pay well at the moment in the UK are Just Eat and Deliveroo, and that's about it. Uber Eats can pay peanuts. You can get an order to ride for half an hour, and maybe you'll get paid £3 at the end of that. And you have to remember that £3 that you're earning, you're still taxed on that. And if you're not good at managing your taxes, well, if you don't know how to claim back the expenses that you've put into your riding, the cost of charging up your bike, the cost of the equipment that you bought, and all of that, you're just going to end up at a loss. £3 for half an hour plus of work is not good money in this day and age, in the times that we're living in now. And you might say, okay, £3 for half an hour, you do that twice, that's £6 an hour. That's not too far off the minimum wage. Well, it's not, because that half an hour doesn't include all the time that you're spending waiting around at a restaurant that might not have the order ready. It doesn't include the time it takes you to lock up your bike and unlock your bike, hope that it hasn't been stolen while you're walking up the staircase in a block of flats to deliver the order. All of that kind of stuff, that isn't considered within that time period. And the joke is, you might do that half an hour piece of work and spend another half an hour waiting for the next order to come in. So at that rate, you've only made £3 an hour. That doesn't make sense. So I would avoid these apps like the plague. I would stay far away from them. Only maybe if it's a new opportunity and it's a new business that's just started up and they're desperately searching for riders and there's going to be a high demand, then yeah, that might be worth going for, because you know that until lots of riders are on the app, there's good money to be made. Because these apps didn't always used to pay badly. When they were fairly newer and there were less riders on the road, there was more work than there was riders. Now there's way more riders than there is work, so the app just distributes work amongst the different riders however it feels like it. So you never know whether or not you're going to earn any money when you go out that day. Right, that's number one. Number two is phone and computer repair. And the reason this is number two is because this is something I used to do when I was very young. I started fixing phones and laptops from probably about the age of 10 or so. I was doing it when I was in school. I carried on doing it when I was in college as well, all the way up until I started working a proper 9-to-5 job. I was finding times to fix people's phones and laptops, and I would just get recommendations by word of mouth. I wasn't doing any online advertising. People would come to me because they would know that I was good at fixing these type of products. And back then, I would say it was still fairly decent money, but now things are sort of messed up. And I'll say that because there's, number one, there's so many people that do this. All you have to do in the UK is walk down your local high street and you'll see several shops within a few minutes that are all doing phone repair and laptop repair. So it's a very diluted market. You really have to stand out if you want to get customers compared to all of the other bigger, more established businesses that are already doing this. Number two is the parts availability is very tough at the moment. To get replacement phone screens and phone parts or laptop parts is not as easy as it used to be. Yes, there's sellers on eBay and Amazon, but you don't know the quality of the parts. I think even the last phone that I repaired for a family member using a screen from Amazon didn't work properly. And there was lots of good reviews on the product saying that, yeah, it's a good quality screen, but you don't know whether the reviews on these kind of products are real or fake. And even you're not going to be able to tell the quality of that screen until you've got it and you've disconnected the phone, you've assembled a new screen in, and only then will you know whether it's a good quality part or not. So it's very messy industry to get into, especially as a beginner. So this isn't something I would necessarily recommend anyone to go and jump into now, unless it's a case that you're doing specialist repairs. And by specialist repairs, I'm talking about products that are not being repaired by many people. So these are things like gimbals or camera equipment, drones, things that are not easy or straightforward to fix and are not that popular to break, if that makes sense. It's not something that you see a sign for a repair shop advertising every single day. So there's a lot of niche opportunities out there, and I think finding a good niche is the best way to build a profitable business, because if you're doing something that everyone else can do, there's no unique factor to drive them to come to you. Whereas if you're working on something that maybe isn't as in high demand, but you're the only person that does it, everyone's going to come to you for that. This is a business that I'm still engaged in myself, and the niche that I work in is e-bike repair. And this is something that I do because nobody else in my area does it. Within half an hour's drive of where I operate, nobody else fixes e-bikes. So that means customers come to me because there's nowhere else for them to go. They try other businesses and they don't want to touch those type of products. So because I can fix them, I can charge and demand a rate that I think is worth my time, and it works for me and it works for them as well. And so far I've only had positive experiences doing that type of work, because it's something that is not widely available. So if you can find yourself a niche like that you can build yourself as the expert or the specialist in that area, then you're going to find yourself a profitable side hustle, and it can be something that you enjoy as well, especially if it's repairing something that you're into. Like, I really like bikes and I really like cycling, so repairing bikes isn't so stressful for me because I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy like bringing broken equipment back to life again. Before we jump into number 3, I want to quickly talk to you about NordVPN, something I've been using for years now. While I've been out here in America, NordVPN has allowed me to browse the internet as if I was back home in the UK. It's perfect for accessing content and websites that might otherwise be restricted in the location that you're visiting. For example, you can connect to servers in different countries, unlock TV shows, online series, or other media that isn't allowed in your region. If you want to stay secure online and access the internet without restrictions, check out my NordVPN link in the description below. Right now, there's a limited time offer where you can get 72% off. Don't miss out on this. Number 3 is delivery driving, and this is different from the gig delivery apps. These are actual jobs that you have a contract with the people that you're working for. You might not be full-time, but at least you know that you do a certain amount of work and you're going to get paid a certain amount at the end. And because your van has been, or car has been loaded up with orders that you're going to deliver, you know that that's your work guaranteed in the back. You're not going to be waiting around on the street for orders to come in. So I think this is fairly decent work. Again, all you're doing is trading time for money, and you're not really picking up any skills while you do it. But if you need the money, I think this is a good side hustle. One of the things I like about delivery driving is that there's quite a low barrier to entry. All you need to do is to be able to drive, have a driver's license for some time. The amount of time you need to have your license for varies depending on the company you're applying for, and generally they want you to have a clean license or no more than a certain amount of points on your license to be able to do it. A lot of companies don't even do a lot of checks into the type of people they're hiring. All they care about is whether you can drive and deliver these orders or not. So it can be quite easy to get into these jobs, and people are always looking for drivers. Drivers are there's a shortage of drivers in the UK at the moment. People aren't wanting to do driving jobs, so the amount that you can get paid varies, but some jobs are willing to pay you quite well, especially if you're able to work during prime hours, which are the main working hours where most people are doing like other 9 to 5 hour jobs. But there are jobs that will allow you to work in the evenings or on Saturdays and Sundays, and you can get paid a decent amount for completing a shift. The companies that come to mind that offer this type of work are Every, Yodel, Amazon, and Laundry Heap. And there's other companies out there. You just have to look and see what's available and what the vacancies are in your area. Side hustle number 4 is painting and decorating. And this one it's a bit of a weird thing to be on this list because it's more of a highly skilled trade than a side hustle. Everyone knows how to paint with a paintbrush, but not everyone knows how to paint a house properly, or how to redecorate or sand down walls, or get mask off edges and be able to paint without messing up another wall or another surface, that kind of stuff. If you're good at doing that and you're very competent DIY wise, it might be worth you trying to further develop those skills and see if you can turn it into a profitable business. This is something that I've done over I think maybe over the past year or two is how long I've been engaged in this type of work, and it's pretty good, especially if you can build a team of people to work with you, because you don't have to be on ground to get everything done, especially if there's other work that you're engaged in. If you can find good painters that are willing to work with you and you trust the quality of their work, it's a case of managing and getting the jobs to come in, and then you can be on site if you want to be on site, if you're able to be on site. If you can't, then make sure that the work is completed and that you're getting paid a good price for it, and it's something that still makes sense for you to do if you're paying other people to get the work done for you. One of the things I like about this side hustle is it's a very low barrier to entry. As long as you've got the skills, the amount of financial investment to get this off the ground is very low. Most of the time when you're doing building work or building projects for clients, you don't have to pay for your own tools or supplies. You can invoice the customer at the start of the job, or even get them to buy all of the supplies that are needed, and they provide all of the paint or all of the materials, the filler, whatever you need at the start of the job, so that you're not spending from your own pocket to get it complete. In some cases, I've bought things myself and then I've just billed a customer for it at the end. But if you haven't got the money to do that, you don't have to. So I think it's a really good side hustle. There's also different platforms and apps online that you can use to find the work to do. There's My Builder, which I'm not sure if I can really recommend them, because they charge quite a hefty cut on getting the jobs, and sometimes you will reach out to a customer to get a job on there and they won't even hire you. You still have to pay My Builder a fee, but it works for other people. I see a lot of contractors using them regularly and they're still making good money. And there's TaskRabbit, there's other platforms and agencies that you can work with as well to get painting and decorating jobs. So this is can be quite a lucrative side hustle if you do it right, and the amount of money that you can earn from painting and decorating as well is really good. You'll be surprised if you are a full-time painter and you're good at your job, you can earn a lot more than many corporate jobs will pay you. Of course, it's not the same. You haven't got holiday pay, you haven't got sick pay, you haven't got the comfort and stability that you've got from a traditional 9-to-5 job, but you're getting paid well for your skills. And if you have a team of people and you know how to manage a team, you can do really well in this. The last side hustle I want to talk about is photography and videography. And this is a touchy one because there's a lot of people that get into this kind of business and they quit because they find that it doesn't work for them, or they're not getting the work, they're not getting the jobs that they want, or they've dealt with a few bad or nightmare clients and they've decided that they don't want to do this anymore. Same with the last one I've mentioned. There are nightmare clients in both painting and decorating, and also photography and videography as well. But I think that there's a lot of potential in this side hustle at the moment. And the reason I say that is because the quality of content that you can produce now and the ease of doing it compared to years ago is completely different. Nowadays, I'm filming this video that I'm talking to you now on my iPhone, and I'm not even using the rear camera. This is the front facing camera, and I'm recording in 4K video, and I'm holding this phone with my hand, I'm propping it against the steering wheel, and even if I was to move, there's image stabilization that would stabilize the footage, that it would still be comfortable for you to watch. The amount of technology that is coming into new cameras now, and editing software as well that's utilizing AI, is unbelievable. So I think it's getting easier to produce really good quality footage and produce good content for people. I've been doing photography and videography since I was a child. When I was younger, I used to work with some photographers who would take me on their jobs and just show me what it was like. I covered different weddings and birthdays and ceremonies, and I'll just tag along with my camera and capture footage, and they would correct me and show me the different ways of doing things and how I can make the quality of my work better. Alongside that, I also went to professional photography training as well. And you don't even need to do any of this these days, because there's so much content available on YouTube that you can watch for free to teach you how to become proficient and professional in photography and videography, especially in editing as well. There's so many tutorials you can watch to become really good at this stuff. The good thing about photography is if you know your worth and people know the quality of work that you can produce, you can charge a decent amount for the work that you're doing, and you can make decent money from it. One thing that you need to be careful of is not to charge too low, because it's there's two sides of this side hustle. There's the side of it that you can see and people can see, which is you walking around with a camera during an event, taking pictures or recording video or whatever you're doing. And then there's the side of it they can't see, which is where the most work is, which is in the editing. So if you charge too low and people and don't set your expectations properly when it comes to editing, you can really burn yourself and end up working long hours and not getting paid properly. And if you really don't manage it well, you can find yourself in a position that you're actually hating the work you're doing because you feel like the money you're getting for it is not equivalent to the amount of work that you're putting in. But on the plus side, not to just focus so much on the negatives, this can be something that's really fun to do, especially if you enjoy videography and photography. It can be the dream side hustle for you. You can make money and also enjoy yourself while you're doing it as well. You can go to wherever you're going, have a good time, spend time behind the camera, get some really nice shots, and then once you've edited that and produced your masterpiece, you're getting paid for it as well. It's the best of both worlds. So far in this video, I've ranked all these side hustles from number 1 to 5, with the best of them in my opinion being number 5. But if I was to find myself out of work tomorrow, what side hustle would I go to pay my bills? The answer to that question is painting and decorating, which is actually number 4. And the reason I say painting and decorating is because you don't need a massive portfolio of work to get started. You just need to know what you're doing and be good at what you're doing. And the reason I say that is because there's always going to be a huge amount of demand for painting and decorating. People are always building. Construction is an industry that doesn't stop. No matter what's going on in the economy, people are still building, people are still needing to paint, people are still needing to decorate. Whereas photography, people are always going to be getting married, people are always going to be doing events, but the demand can fluctuate. And there's times of the year when people tend to need your services more. There's times of the year that you're going to have quieter periods. And you also need to be able to convince people of your worth with a good portfolio to back up the reason why they should pay you X amount of money. Painting and decorating, people need their houses painted, people need their offices painted. And if you're the only one who can give them a quote to get the work done that works for them, you're going to get that job. And you can also learn on the job as well, especially if you haven't got the client in your face 24/7 while you're working. There's room for making mistakes sometimes and correcting those mistakes. And I'm not talking about big mistakes like spilling paint all over someone's floor or something. If you paint a wall wrong, you can always go back and rectify that wall or ceiling or whatever it is and make the job right, and the client will still be satisfied as long as you got it right in the end. Whereas with something like photography, you can't shoot someone's wedding and lose the footage or accidentally delete something or shoot it in the wrong frame rate. There's no room for making mistakes when it comes to photography and videography. You have to be on point, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can very easily end up with a very upset client, because you tend to be capturing moments that only happen once in a lifetime. And if you don't do it properly, or you find yourself in a situation where you've done something that results in the loss of that footage or unusable footage, it's a big screw up. Those kind of things are less likely to happen in building and construction projects where it's possible to rectify the work, or even if you yourself can't rectify it, you can always pay someone else to come and fix it for you, so at least you can save your reputation. So that's why I would kind of rank number 4 as being my go-to, even though number 5 is my favorite, and I think it has the most longevity right now in this day and age, and it's something that you can get into at any age and any level to start building yourself up. Number 4 is probably the most stable. If you need to get money in your pocket and get your bills paid, that would be the one that I would go for. Right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and comment. And if you have any suggestions or any comments on what I've spoken about, or any thoughts, if either you disagree with me or you agree with me on something that I've said, just let me know in the comments and we can talk about it. And it'll be nice to hear what your thoughts are on this topic. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and speak to you later.